Today, on Be Something Wonderful, manifest a specific person or anything you desire, simple and fast. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. We have another big video for you this morning, and also in a few hours, we're going to have our first live event of the year, our first live stream, where I answer your questions while you're asking them on the chat. And I also hit topics and questions that you've been sending to us at info@besomethingwonderful.com. This is our first live event of the year. That's on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel at 12 noon time Pacific time, right here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. In just a few hours, we're going to have our first live event. If you're a member, join us. If you're not, check out the link below. We have a big video for you today. This centers around a question that one of you had around a specific person where there are others apparently, right, manifesting this specific person, and about a big bonus at work where colleagues are also competing for this. And so a lot of questions on, Tom, what's possible for me? And what about the others manifesting that specific person and competing for that bonus? So guys, we've talked about all of these ideas and more in many videos, but I'm going to really unpack it today like we never have before. Let's start here. What's possible for me? What's possible for you? All things whatsoever are possible. This is very clear. Remember, we've talked about this idea that if you can desire something, if you can imagine it or assume it, if you can even think of a desire, then that desire, absolutely fulfilled, exists here and now. Do you see that desire cannot exist without its fulfillment? That's what the whole unity or the oneness of reality is all about, of ultimate reality. All that is all that is. So if you have a desire, within that all that isness is the absolute fulfillment of that desire. In other words, the version of you in reality where that desire is fulfilled. So all things are possible. Absolutely everything. If you desire it, even think of it, imagine it, assume it, it exists as fulfilled here and now, as a fulfilled reality. So the question really isn't what's possible. The question really is, what's probable for you? What's probable for you, your projection, your reflection of reality, based on your mix of assumptions, beliefs, and definitions of who you are? Remember, I am, the ultimate truth of who you are, means all things are possible. When you say I am, that means that everything, all that is, all that you are, that's what all that is. All that is I am awareness. It's complete. That means everything that you could possibly desire exists here and now as part of you, as that I am awareness. So it's all possible. The question is what's probable. And your questions around, we're going to talk about these ideas more and more. A specific person, remember, you say others are manifesting the same person. They're not the same person. You create your unique aspect or vantage point or projection or reflection of your physical experience. Within that physical experience, there are infinite versions of the people, events, and circumstances. But you create your specific version of them. And others create their own reality. But in your reality, those others that are manifesting that specific person, they either manifest them or not, or you manifest them or not, depending on what you say. It's based on your assumptions, your beliefs, your reality. Remember, physical reality. There's no one objective physical reality out there. Everyone creates their own unique experience, or what they call their physical experience, their own unique projection or reflection of their world. So you're creating yours. And the people, events, and circumstances within that, there's still consciousness. Everything is consciousness. But it's your view, from your viewpoint or your vantage point of that one consciousness. You create your unique projection. So it's not the same reality, it's not the same person. You just have, it's only about you, focusing on who you are, your desires, right? And remember, the question was, well, what about their free will and the free will of others? Remember that you're not affecting or influencing another's free will. You couldn't possibly, that's the whole definition of free will. In your reality, in your world, you create versions of the people, events, and circumstances where their free will matches your free will. Do you see there's other versions that are not existing for you unless you create it, where their free will does not match your free will? You could create a reality where they freely don't pick you. Do you see that? You could create that idea. But why would you do that? You want to create the idea where they do choose you, because you choose them. So they must choose you. So that there must be a version of them where they're choosing you, where their free will matches your free will, and you create that. We're going to get more into this. And then in terms of the big bonus or the competition, there's no competition in your reality. Wow. Unless you create it. The idea of it, do you see? You create your own unique projection or reflection. It's your bonus, yours for the taking. But you could create a reality where someone else earned that bonus or someone else won that bonus. You certainly can create that, but in your reality, you create. It's not the same bonus. Remember, the others that you believe are competing for that are not competing for the same bonus. They create their own reality. But in your reality, the versions of them that are competing for that bonus, either they win it or they don't, or you win it or you don't, but it's all based on your assumptions, your definitions. Wow. Your beliefs of who you are decides who wins that bonus. That's powerful. It's all you, right? You create your version of all of it. It's all consciousness. All of it. The other people, the SP, the bonus is all forms of consciousness. But your perspective and view as that all that is consciousness. That's all that ever matters. You don't affect another's free will, right? The versions and forms, they take on in your experience of reality. What version they take on depends on you and your assumptions. That's powerful. So we're going to get to all of these ideas today and more. So here's why. We're gonna start at the top. Why all things are possible? Because we say that, and we say the idea that if you can desire it or even think of it, then the desire and its fulfillment exists for you and within you and through you. But you go, but still I don't get it. Well, we're gonna do that. We're gonna build up to that, and then to show you how really, literally, you can manifest any person. It doesn't matter whatsoever. Right? Or anything else like that bonus. Here's why you can manifest any specific person or anything you desire, because you desire it. We're going to start there. Because you desire it. Because you have that innate urge or impulse of desire, the impulse of consciousness to be conscious, the impulse of awareness to be aware of itself as all that is. It's only you as consciousness, as all that is, being aware of yourself from infinite viewpoints, vantage points, and perspectives. And as you are aware of yourself, you create these versions of people, events, and circumstances that reflect that consciousness that you are, that awareness that you are. But it's all you. It's all you being aware of you. Because you desire it, means it exists. And not just exists, the desire, but the fulfillment. Because there's only one reality. There's only one unity of God. There's only one consciousness. All that is must be all that is. It must be complete. You cannot have fulfillment without a desire, or desire without fulfillment. It's all one. When you desire it, it's fulfilled. When you ask, it is answered. When you cause something, the effect is already there. They cannot exist one without the other. There's the unity of reality. Relativity, things relative to each other, or the idea of change and that changeless, is how you experience that one unity, right? Change and movement in the idea of space and time, putting space between events. So to desire something, to desire anything, means the absolute unconditional fulfillment of that desire exists here and now. Or you wouldn't or couldn't even desire, contemplate, or think of it. Wow. Because existence means I am, I exist. And if I exist as all that is, as everything. Because existence, you can't divide up existence. You can't divide up isness. Isness is one, it's one awareness, one consciousness, one reality. There's only one existence of reality, I am. There's only one I am. And you are a perspective of that, a viewpoint of that, but you're all of it. Do you see it? You take on a certain personality to know yourself as all that is. Non-existence doesn't exist. That's what non-existence, notness, the idea of notness or non-existence is a manifested experience of being something else, of being something else. So there is no notness or non-existence. The experience of that is being aware of yourself or conscious of yourself as being something else other than that other thing. That's the whole idea of duality or relativity. So there's only existence. The one absolute law of existence is I am. What's the law? I exist. And I exist as all that is. Everything. I exist and will always exist and always existed. Existence just is. This is what the ancients and others have called God, or that great I am. Whatever you want to call it. That one energy, that one awareness, that one universal intelligent mind. And since I exist, or since I am, I must exist as everything, but no thing in reality. Do you see? So I am all things, but no thing in particular. And to know myself as that being in superposition, as all things, I take on a certain viewpoint, a vantage point, a perspective, but I'm still all things, even as I'm looking out through that vantage point of perspective. I have not lost or added anything. I'm still that being. I'm just creating an experience within that beingness. So let's continue with that, right? Notness is not the same thing as no thingness, right? Or nothingness. Notness is not the same thing as nothingness. Notness is not reality. It doesn't exist. Non-existence. No-thingness or nothingness is the idea that it's everything in potential, in latent potential or latency, but it's nothing in particular. The reality of no thing or nothing, but everything in potential. That's you as all that is. Or in other words, it's existence, referred to as God or other names, many names for it. Right? We're not talking about the Bible necessarily today, right? We're just talking about existence. That some call God or the isness of reality, the great I am, that great one substance, right? Infinite nothingness, infinite nothingness, existing under the law, one absolute law, or what Scripture referred to as the Lord, and there is no other, and other names for the law. So there's this law that exists with this infinite nothingness, this infinite nothingness, I just want to keep saying another. This infinite nothingness exists under this one law that we call the law. More than the law of assumption, more than the law of cause and effect or vibration or frequency. Those are all lesser laws. Even more than the law of being, because the law of being is really the law of all that is. It's the law of you as all that is. We're just talking about the law, the absolute law, that is not relative to anything. That there's nothing apart from this law or this absolute existence. It's not relative to anything. There's no duality. There's no comparison. There's nothing outside of it, right? The law in infinity is not being, but the cause and source of being or beingness. Do you see this, right? Existence, or that isness of reality. It's not being anything, but is everything in latent potential. That's existence. It's not being anything, but is everything in potential. It's governed by the law, that one law. That infinite nothingness is governed by that one law. It's not being, but it's the cause and source of being. It's the absolute unity of the one, of that isness. And then out of that isness of reality, that many have called God or other names, this existence, is born the beingness, the universal being or the beingness, what we call spirit, or the God experience, right? The universal being, the Holy Ghost, right? The Spirit, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? The universal being or the Holy Spirit, referred to as Spirit, all that is. I am awareness, or that in one intelligent mind, right? As quantum physics talks about the intelligent mind, the universal mind. That's born out of existence according to law, according to the law of one reality, one source, one absolute existence, right? That gives birth to this beingness, or the idea of a being, a universal being that we call Spirit, or the Son of God, or I am awareness. The absolute unity of one. The ancients referred to it as God's Son, right? The universal being referred to as Spirit, or all that is, I am awareness, proceeds from and is born out of existence, or the infinite isness, or reality itself, ultimate reality, ultimate source. And it's born out of this to be aware and conscious of itself relative to what? To itself, because there's only one. So you're only ever conscious and aware of yourself. This is what we're getting at today. Very powerful. Stay with me. I'm getting to this reason. This reasoning is building up to why you can manifest anything, as we touched on right at the beginning. So born out of existence, this great I am, this great existence, this infinite nothingness or no-thingness, not notness. Notness is different. Notness doesn't exist. That's non-existence. We're talking about the great nothingness. That's everything. The great I am. Born out of that existence, or the great I am, is the latency and possibility of all that is. All possibilities as latent potential, or infinite beingness, or that infinite being. Right? That's born out of existence, or what they call God's Son. You can think of it as the first manifestation of life, or consciousness, or awareness. Existence is existence. And the livingness of life is born out of that. The consciousness of being conscious of itself as life, as existence. Being aware of itself as that one existence is born out of that without ever changing or affecting that existence. The livingness of existence, aware and conscious of itself. This divine being or intelligent mind or I am awareness is the son of that existence, or born from that existence. What we've referred to when we talked about levels of reality creation, level 7, right? That existence itself. And level 6 being that infinite nothingness existing under the law, right? So level 7 is that one reality, one source, existence itself. Infinite nothingness existing under the law. That's level 7. Born out of that existence or isness is the infinite beingness or infinite being that we've referred to as Spirit. Or you might want to refer to it as God's Son or I am awareness. It's the beingness that's born out of the isness, right? To be aware and conscious of itself as all that is. It creates that idea of motion of that substance moving on itself, right? consciousness being conscious of itself, awareness being aware of itself, moving on itself to know itself as that ultimate source, that ultimate reality. And that, to be aware that you might want to call that the first desire, the first innate desire or impulse of life, to know itself as life. Consciousness, to be conscious of itself. Awareness, to be aware of itself. This great isness, to be aware of itself as consciousness or awareness. And that out of that innate desire to know itself, right? Consciousness couldn't be conscious without it being conscious of something. And what is that something? Well, there's only consciousness. So it's itself. Awareness couldn't be awareness unless it was aware of something. And what is that? It's self. I am. You have that level 7, that one source, that infinite nothingness that exists under the law, or according to the absolute law of reality, that there's only one, the law of one, you might want to call it, the law of the Lord, the law of one. And then you have that idea that's born out of it, the beingness. Out of isness is born beingness, or all possibilities now. It's that latent all possibilities is now all potential to be anything, infinite beingness, to be aware and conscious of anything. And this infinite beingness, who you are, this is your higher self, your inner being, who you really are, your true self, right? Who you truly are. It has that innate desire or impulse to know itself. You translate that innate essence or impulse or desire into things that you desire as a physical experience. Here you are. But all of that, the manifestations of those desires, the reflections and projections of those desires as your physical experience, are governed by lesser laws. The law of assumption, the law of frequency, the law of correspondence, the law of cause and effect, the law of resonance, or what you can just call the universal laws that many spiritual teachers call. But there are lesser laws to the absolute law of one, which you can never, it's not relative to any other law. It's not subject to any other law. All of these laws are subject to that law of one, meaning you are all that is. Your desires are fulfilled. That's the law of one. There's nothing outside of it. So as you desire things, it's that knowing. And you create an experience that's governed by the lower laws, the law of assumption, the law of attraction, the law of frequency, the law of correspondence, the law of cause and effect and resonance. And you create your specific translated experience of that desire according to those laws. But all of it is this law, all of these universal laws are really the law of being, the law of you defining who you are, your assumptions of self, who, your identity. Very powerful. That's why it is said that you wouldn't even be able to desire it, whether it's a specific person, event, or thing, or version of you, unless it existed as a fulfilled reality here and now. That's why all things are possible, because there's only all that is as all potential. And you are that I am. It's the law. You exist as everything in latent potential. That's the absolute law. That's not subject to any other law. I exist, and I will always exist, and I have always existed as all that is. It's an absolute, infallible law. It's the law that many refer to, spiritual teachers. And Scripture refers to as the Lord, and there is no other. There is no other law. And that law exists with this infinite nothingness, this latent potential that you manifest into a beingness or an experience of you being, of that innate desire of consciousness to be conscious, of awareness to be aware. You experience as all that is governed. Your experience as all that is governed by the universal laws of being, subject to the one law of one, the law of one, the law of the absolute. Do you see? Those universal laws, we might want to call that level 5, right? Your I am identity, right? But who you truly are. That infinite, multidimensional you. You in superposition as all possibilities, as every conceivable identity or version of you in this idea of this 3D physical experience. You can create these infinite other versions, other potentials of this physical experience, governed by the law of being, the universal laws that are subject to the one absolute law, the Lord, the law of I am, the law of one. One reality, one I am, one consciousness, one awareness. You exist as all that is, all states, all identities, all possibilities in superposition right now. To be or experience yourself as anything. According to what? According to the law of being, or the universal laws, or those lesser laws. The frequency and the vibration and the correspondence. And all of that is really what are you saying? You're saying, who am I? Because that determines your frequency and your vibration, right? Or the idea of that mix. But it doesn't change who you are. I am the law of one. You're subject to the law of one, meaning you exist as all possibilities, no matter what. No matter what you assume or define or believe yourself to be. It doesn't change who you are. It just creates an experience within that idea of all that you are. Wow. Powerful today. So you frame your experience of yourself, I am, of self, by your assumptions of self. In other words, that concept or self-image. What we refer to as level 4 in the levels of creation. You create this idea, you have the free will to choose as you frame this experience, knowing yourself as all that is, based on who you are. The physical reflection and projection of people, events, and things have no free will of their own because it's your projection, it's your reflection. It's according to your free will. The manifested scripts or realities or parallel alternative versions of events in you are according to your assumptions, your beliefs. And then those people, events, and circumstances that show up as that version, matching what you desire, you choose, matching your free will. You create a reality where their free will matches yours. Infinite realities or horizontal linear experiences. They go on and on and on forever. Of past, present, and future experiences in latent potential to the physically focused you here and now. Hear this. Here you are. And you're even creating and reflecting in this moment some script or reality or projected physical experience. Then all the others exist in you, in all of them, and all of them in you. But to the physically focused you here and now, they're in potential, latency, waiting, standing there. They're already there. There's already a version of you living that life. But it's potential to the physically focused perspective that you're assuming and believing and identifying yourself as right now. Just as you, in this physically focused experience, are potential to the other infinite versions of you. Wow, I'm not sure we've talked about it in this way. Maybe it was the influence of the Apple TV show Dark Matter. One of you mentioned that as Tom watched it. I have watched that show. And I love it, right? I love all that stuff. There's also a movie, another one that will really freak you out. It's great, right? We're always freaking ourselves out, right? Called Coherence. Coherence. Watch it. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. It's about infinite possibilities, infinite realities, and it's really cool. So, all right. So you got my movie recommendation. And so there you are. Do you see it? All of these exist. So when you say, well, what if we're manifesting the same specific person? You're not. All of those realities, for them as a point of consciousness, they are manifesting another person that's not the same one. It's the same idea of who it is. It's an infinite being. It's an infinite point of consciousness. But in their reality, they create their version of events. But in your reflection or projection, it's versions of them. They're all consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Everything's awareness. But in your experience, that version of that awareness or consciousness that you are, you create your experience, your unique experience of that in every moment. So this is powerful. But how, Tom? How? Because we talk about the idea of persisting and imagining your wish fulfilled and assuming it. And all of those things hold, right? Creating an imaginal scene, imagining yourself as that person, going to some end that implies the fulfillment of your desire, assuming it, affirming it robotically. All of those are powerful. But none of those are creating anything. It's already created. None of those are manifesting anything. It's already manifested. It already exists here and now in superposition as you. So the process of the techniques is really just you choosing what you want to experience. You don't even need a formal process to choose, but sometimes we like to do that. But there's no really formal process. You're always imagining. In every moment you're dreaming. You're dreaming this all up now. You can do a structured meditation or a structured state akin to sleep, imagining it before you go to bed, or you can just know that you're dreaming and imagining it in every moment. That you're spinning realities and experiences of infinite versions of you, spinning them from within you in every moment. Walk around in that knowing and just focus on how you would like things to be, not what you believe they appear to be. And you're going to be living the life of your dreams. So persist in your new choice. There's this real myth about persistence. I think I saw a comment on either the Facebook page or somewhere else. Someone sent me that should I continue to persist or give upwards? In other words, surrender it to my higher self. There's no difference. Again, you're making persistence like something that's an effort that you have to give up. Persistence is simply choosing. It's a choice, a conviction from within that I am that person now. This is my reality. This is my choice. I choose this. That's all persistence is. And then staying there. Not to get something to happen out there, but to know that things are already there. That all realities already exist. You're choosing it because that's your preference now. That's who you desire to be. No matter what you're seeing happening in terms of those changing reflections and projections. Persist in your new choice. That new identity, no matter what. Remember, and I've said this before, persistence, the idea of persistence, is not imagining, assuming, and affirming your wish fulfilled or that new identity or that new life long enough until something changes out there. That's how we look for persistence. So we wait and we persist and it doesn't ever seem to change because it always seems out of reach because you're creating a reality where you're persisting until something happens. You've got to know persistence is the happening. It's just you deciding, making a choice. That's what persistence is. Persistence is a conviction and decision within to be that new identity, that I am that I am. Because it's your preference. Because it's who you are as a creator, as the creator, as all that is. It's not about this idea, Tom, I don't like the idea of only having to live in my 4D or in my imagination. That you're again creating separation. It's not about living in 4D and then expecting something to happen out there in 3D. That's why it doesn't happen. Because you create this idea that I'm living in 4D in my imagination, expecting something to happen out there outside of me in 3D. You're all of it. There's absolutely no separation. Persistence is the knowing, hear this, that there's no difference between the 3D and 4D and 5D. It's all you. All you. All you. All you as the center. So persistence, this idea of giving upward and allowing and letting go, well, remember, you don't have to choose between that. Persisting in your wish fulfilled is letting go. Letting go of any old reality that you no longer choose. It is giving upward. It's giving upward to you as source, saying, yeah, this is who I am now. There's no free will apart from yours. The idea of 3D reality, that reflection or projection, doesn't have a free will of its own. It doesn't exist outside of you. What are we doing? It's time. Now, I challenge you, manifest any specific person or any desire. Do it like that. Imagine it from the idea that there is no separation. That if I desire it, it exists here and now in fulfillment. That if I asked, it's answered. If I desire it, it's fulfilled. That's power. That's what we're talking about today. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and these are the studios of Be Something Wonderful, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, just thank you for being with me. Also, thank you for being part of the Tom Kearin channel, our other YouTube channel. We released a huge video yesterday that you guys seem to be really enjoying. Check it out on the Tom Kearin channel. I am your host, Tom Kearin. These are the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Until next time, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, we'll see you soon.